This smoke almost cost this team over $10,000. In the Superdome Columbia 2023 Grand Finals, Furia had their backs against the wall and were forced to pull out their secret Omen tech. This dirty bubble scrambled Leviathan's game plan, causing them to drop 7 of the first 8 rounds. But I mean, come on. Can you really contribute this much success to one smoke? Yes you can. Furia abused the current Lotus meta and it paid off big time. In this video, we're challenging the way pros tackle this map and are exposing this new playstyle to the world. And speaking of exposing things to the world, why not cover yourself up with some of my new merch? I asked you guys in one of my community posts what you thought of these simple designs, and a lot of you really liked them. So here they are. Now, this is a soft launch, so there's not going to be many in stock. I'm kind of just dipping my toe in the water and testing things out. So if you want to support me and this channel, check out my merch. Link in the description. It's such a shame how everyone and their mother just insta-lock duelists in ranked, when controllers are arguably the strongest agents in the game. If you have someone who knows what they're doing playing smokes, you can create ridiculous amounts of pressure, stall pushes, manipulate sights, and force teams to play around them much differently. Trust me, these agents are nuts, and you're going to see why. Lev's pistol plan is to fight for Rubble hard in their 1-4 default while playing retake on both B and then C with Killjoy's stall nanoswarm. Now what Furia want to do is abuse the way that every Killjoy and their mother love to play C-site in their 3-1-1 setup. The defense kicks the game off by one-waying a main, and Nowzer flashes Rubble to make sure no one's crossed. But the offense responds with their poison orb. It blooms, and now it's possible that someone could have walked out and crossed over, anchoring the defenders and nullifying this one-way. In the meantime, the rest of Furia have dry swung Mound with their long-range pistols. Without anything stopping them, I'm taking a sheriff in this potential duel any day. They continue to sprint up Mound, MW0 pre-firing common angles, but when they get close, their signature smoke comes out. Sky's dog gallops through the choke, clearing all of sight and spotting Killjoy deep into waterfall. And now she is super sketched out. Most Killjoys place their turret on top of this double stack as it's awkward to deal with for attackers. It messes up their crosshair placement, slows them down in these mollies, and Killjoy can take advantage. It's a really strong position, but this smoke completely nullifies this turret and is allowing Furia to contact up and literally give them a free sight without costing them anything. Now, once the turret does get broken, the gig is up. Tex is calling for reinforcements, and King has flipped up his toxic screen, forcing the attackers to second guess themselves. Are Lev already here? Are they ready to retake? But their spike is stranded on elbow, and to alleviate some of this potential pressure, Furia drop back, flip open the door to create the possibility that they're going back to B. This on-the-fly call has slowed down rotates, and has actually secured Furia a free sight. But the job isn't finished. Liazzi pushes deeper, and lines up his paranoia.
Saben que están ahí en la parte de cascada, cuidado con la apertura. Llegaba la paranoia, excelente parte, come on!
Because Furia were able to take sight without any resistance, they saved their flash for a post-plant push. This Gigabrain smoke and then aggression has put Lev into an unwinnable situation.
Que tiene que stompear este ataque.
Sí, total, aquí sabe el Havoc, sabe que encuentra King por allí, intenta abrir el tiempo para los Havoc.
Okay guys, we need to have a talk. You people need to stop being greedy and actually think about your anti-ecos. Instead of running around trying to pad your stats, you should be focusing all of these free kills into someone who's close to an ultimate. Look, on Furia's anti-eco, they went C, predicted that Lev were going to push, and MW0 fragged out. But the offense didn't just keep going. Raze immediately grabbed the orb, left, grabbed the B orb, left, grabbed the A orb, and then gave the plant to Killjoy. Furia squeezed every last drop that they could out of this round, which gave them a showstopper for the first full buy. I mean, when you think about it, the right play for King might have been to just run at the attackers instead of playing for a kill, so Furia couldn't get this much value. Regardless, that brings us here, where we're going to see the return of an old friend. Furia still want to pester Killjoy and C with their sight smoke, while the defense is still contesting Rubble in their 1-1-3 setup. Lev sent out their boombot, a flash, Snakebite, and after Rubble's clear, the defenders leave Viper to hold this space. By brawling for this area, the defense is able to leave one here, while her teammates reinforce the rest of the map. In previous videos, we broke down why Rubble is so important for the defense to contest, but Furia is challenging the norm. What they're doing is destroying the defense's sentinel utility so that the defense has to spread evenly throughout the map, allowing them to go wherever they want. So in the meantime, the attackers have used their own Roomba and Bird to take Mound, pushing past the defense's one-way. Tex Teets decides to fall back as his teammates are on their way, and Mazzino smokes off the entrance. But Furia aren't actually moving onto site this time. Because they contacted behind their smoke on pistol round, the offense knows that just by placing this lurk smoke on site, it should drag over a lot of attention, which it has. Raze and Killjoy are patrolling the area, and Sky is even looking over this way. Now, while Furia's dark cover is raising suspicions, the offense have walked up B main, ready to pounce on a defenseless B site.
Queda anclado en el sector de C junto con Teets. Se viene el Goomba, Divas, conecta.
Aspas has single-handedly cleared out B, allowing his team to spread out and set up in strong post-plant crossfires. Lever now scrambling into position for the retake, and now once everyone's ready, a brawl breaks out.
Ataque en la Spike y la posible ronda bonus es instante para Furia. Ahí estaba Aspas, apertura perfecta. Cuidado con King, que también lograba encontrarlo en el camino. King que intenta shotear. Muy bien, Noswell y Tex. Se queda solo Khalil. Lo van a buscar, ya saben dónde se encuentra. 7 de vida para King. Tiene que tocar la Spike. A ver si lo puede encontrar. Lo deja a la mitad. Ojo porque intenta sacar la información. ¿Qué? Por poco y lo lograba.
Furia caught Lev with their pants down on this explosive B hit, and if Lev want to stop the bleeding early, they need to come up with a counter for this stupid smoke. On the round that we're skipping, we see some early counterplay to this smoke that's burned the defense twice already. By simply putting the turret on this line, you'll know if someone has crossed into sight. Alright, so let's see how Lev uses it.
El orbe, farmean el orbe también para Aspas, cuidado.
Well, Tex didn't really use it this round, but that's okay because we at least see that Lev are talking about this dark cover and are making adjustments. Furia end up converting the anti-eco, which brings us here with more counterplay. Lev have postured into a 2-3 setup to better repel the C pressure while still being able to hold onto rubble. But look closely. Tex has swapped his setup so this turret now spots this deep line on B, and his alarm bot can now play in front of this pesky smoke, giving him constant information. And Furia are headed this way in another one of their 3-1-1 defaults. Do they counter this new bot? The attackers flash around Mound, Raze satchels in, and within 5 seconds, Lev has already put up their Viper Orb to protect their alarm bot. Now, Furia have pushed through the C main smoke before, but not Vipers. Because of how much decay damage it deals, the offense decides to create question marks elsewhere while they wait it out. MW0 presses the button, takes a few shots, and by the time the Poison Orb drops, Liazzi places his dark cover. Raze decides to inch forward, breaking the bot right before the main smoke gets refreshed. Furia have now successfully completed step 1 of their game plan by forcing the defense to keep 2 players here. Now it's time for the second part. Khalil starts to drop back from B main and is swapping places with the C default. While he grabs the orb, his teammates take her spot back on B. It's a fake! Killjoy crosses over, slams her lockdown, and because of how this site has been a problem all game, Lev are biting hard. But Furia burst onto B behind a flash, nade, and their seekers. While Raze goes for the plant, Sky is trying to stall out a waterfall, knowing that that's where the defense has to be grouped up after that lockdown. But Furia seem to have forgotten about the most important part of a B post plant. Secret! Can they win this round without it?
De la Spike, que es el sector de B. Ahí estaba la paranoia, que puede ser buena. La internada por parte de Leviatán estaba con Aspas. Miusera también conectando. Aspas y el tumba Divas. No lograba conectarlo al final. Gana espacio, gana tiempo, toca la Spike. Noswell castigando. Ojo, es un 4 para 3. ¿Dónde se encuentra? ¿Dónde está? Lo quiere buscar. Ya saben que tienen a alguien en el sector de conector. Conan y Miuseras que se quedan allí. Los dos jugadores para sacar la ronda adelante. Pero parece que sí.
Furia did everything right this round except for the post plant. When taking B, it is so important that you hold onto Secret as it allows you to form ridiculously strong crossfires when the spike is planted. Instead, Furia chose to take Heaven, which is a lot more awkward to contest the defuse from. So despite successfully applying pressure with this smoke once again, they just couldn't seal the deal. Furia have diagnosed the flaws in their game plan. The early round was great. This C pressure is working, but they fumbled last round's post plant. Maybe they'll have more success on A? Especially because Lev might not expect it with how rarely it's been played on. They're still in their standard 3-1-1 default, while Lev are still in their hard anchor C fight A setup. The defense don't even one-way mount this time. I mean, they know it's not going to do anything, and decide to one-way A main instead. But look at how much pressure Conan is making with his Poison Orb. While the defense is wasting time clearing out this area, the offense is charging up Mound, foaming at the mouth, obsessed with breaking Killjoy's toys. But Tex has swapped his setup again. In order to counter Raze's satchels, his alarm bot is now on top of this box, making it 100 times harder to break. The offense just can't reach it. Now, I'm writing this section in post-production, but with further testing, it turns out that you can still sneak past this alarm bot if you hug the wall literally as tight as possible. But if you scoot closer even just an inch, it'll go off. So here, the bot most likely will tag somebody, but it isn't foolproof. MW0 throws out a satchel. It breaks the mollies, and Furia are doing the same thing. They don't want to fight this poison orb, so they fiddle with the door instead. Now, it's been 5 rounds, and Lev are tired of losing these 2 sites. So while Omen is spotting A through Secret, his team is stacking these 2/3 of the map. Now Viper's smoke drops, so MW0 creeps forward again, but doesn't hear anything. I guess my satchel broke all the bots. Well, just to be safe, MW0 throws out another one just to make sure he's gotten everything. But he hasn't. The defense have finally popped this dirty bubble. If Lev want, they can leave Killjoy to solo this site. But with how this game's been going, they think that Furia are ending in one of these 2 sites. Wrong. Furia are retreating back to A, but Lev aren't just sitting around. They need some space. So Nowzer dogs out B and spots Kalir all by himself. And Nowzer flashes, but Kalir counters with a nanoswarm. Now Aspas is hungry, wanting to take down the isolated straggler, so he calls Mazina over and he unleashes his paranoia. But Liazi flips open the door and rips his own near sight. This ballsy play makes it seem like Furia are still here. One person surely wouldn't be doing this on their own. Liazi has single-handedly given Lev a false sense of certainty that the offense are towards B and C, but they're actually A. And this false information makes Mazino think that he can safely cross back to A and prepare for a potential rotate from the offense. After showing so much pressure towards this half of the map, surely they come back to A, Omen thinks to himself. So he crawls out of Secret, not knowing what's coming next.
Ojo con los chicos de Furia, vienen a buscar.
¡Ay, Massino!
¡Y tiene que irse Massino, que pasaba saltando! Es Massino el que corría, pero Havoc lo sentenciaba.
This constant pressure towards C and B has opened up another site for Furia. With their side anchor down and the Seekers coming in just too late, the defense aren't in a position to flood. They have no choice but to allow the offense to set up in formidable crossfires.
Con Teets, cortina tóxica que se abre bien con Aspas, ya se lleva la vida de Havoc. Y así, que descontaba la vida de Misera. 3 para 3 el marcador, cuidado en apertura. Saben que hay uno en árbol, tienen que empezar a tocar la Spike porque el tiempo juega en contra. Cuidado con Conan, se llevaba la vida del Rey. Conan con la doble, solo queda Aspas, Aspas contra el mundo, no le va a dar el tiempo. Pase ronda para Furia, cuidado con Aspas, no le asomaban. Y por lo menos Aspas fuerza a que se mueran con él. Ahí estaba, 300 más de oro para él con la muerte de Khalil.
Something needs to be done about this part of the map. Lev can't keep getting burned like this. Lev take a timeout to try and clear the air. Wow, Killjoy, you're getting smoked on site. Okay, I'm sorry. Why don't you take a break and go play A? Let's have these guys fight Mound instead of Rebel. How's that sound, guys? Yeah, we got this. Sounds good to me, brother. Yeah, let's get him. Good eye, mate. So that's Lev's plan for next round. Not this one. A couple of their players just don't have enough credits to buy, so they don't want to show their complete adjustment until everyone can buy up. Now, I know some of them don't have money, but did Viper forget to buy something? You tell me, but I think so, considering that she does have armor. Regardless, Furia have changed their plan and their 2-2-1 default. At least that's what they want you to think. MW0 flies past the buy bearer behind Havoc's flash and a boombot to pretend like the offense have taken the space. But the attackers have already turned tail and are headed back to C, where they've laid down a one-way at the entrance instead of the side smoke. But Lev have locked out the offense with a one-way of their own. Once they both fade, Furia creeps up Mound, contacting behind their Killjoy turret. But the map's gone quiet again, and the B pressure that Lev has created earlier just isn't that threatening anymore. Aspas has already started his rotate back to C to assist the low-tier pistols. On rounds like these, where you don't have great weapons, risks have to be made or your teammates will get run over. And now Sky double-checks that no more attackers are lurking about and turns back to A. But back on C, Mazzino steps up to figure out what's going on, but he's not going to like what he sees.
Un minuto que va quedando para poder ejecutar y ahora sí llega. Misera con la tumba diva. Se lleva la vida de Mazzino, lo van a limpiar. Cuidado con esto, está Aspas. Ya lo descontaba. 5-1 el marcador, 4-3 en...
Because Furia have always been obvious when taking C, out of their timeout, they decided to keep it quiet and contact up Mound this time and explode as soon as they made contact with the defense, which in this situation was Mazzino peeking. This lightning-fast entry has cleared the room for the offense once again, but the defense are here, taking random shots, trying to find an opening. Nowzer finds Furia's controller, evening out the odds. He sends out his Trailblazer next. Tex goes down, but the dog tags 2 attackers. Furia don't feel safe and make a break for the exit. Conan and Khalil flip open the door and head to B, but Havoc has stuck around to find a lurk. He's calling his team back as he starts to slot himself into a strong off angle. He tells Khalil to come up and bait for him, and they attempt to close out the round.
Están allí salvaguardando el sector de C. El movimiento por parte de Noswer junto con Aspas se abren al tiempo, lo pueden encontrar. Havoc castigando a Noswer, se queda Aspas en solitario. Aspas lograba sentenciar allí a Havoc. El 1 para 2, el tic-tac en la Spike. Y la situación de retoma cada vez más complicada. Empieza a cambiar arma. Puede encontrar el primero, a ver si lo logra hacer.
4 balas.
La Spike sería bastante interesante. Viene el movimiento. Upa, queda vulnerable, queda decaído. Queda también con daño por parte de la torreta MVP. Queda la ronda para Furia. El 6-1 al marcador y la ventaja clara para la escuadra de Furia.
Now here is where we see the true adjustment that Lev made in their timeout. It's clear that Killjoy has been getting bullied on this site, so she's called in the cavalry, flip-flopping their setup. The defense are fighting for Mound now, while Killjoy's bots passively hold A, allowing her teammates to stack these areas. But Furia are still in their 3-1-1 setup. I mean, if it ain't broken, don't fix it. But they're conditioned to Mound being free. What are they gonna do now that there's actual resistance? Lev initiate the contest by one-waying the entrance to Mound, and nothing out of the ordinary so far. And Furia start their standard utility sequence. Omen TPs across, raise boombots, but it gets broken. That's weird. Mound is supposed to be free. The offense are taken back. Not once this game has someone actually broken this boombot. Something seems fishy. So Furia are extra cautious. They wait out Lev's one way. Sky whips out a Trailblazer, and Omen locks and loads his paranoia.
Se disipó el humo y ahora sí podría ser. Forja caminos, viene la carcasa de pintura que puede ser bastante buena. Aspas, es Masino que termina apareciendo. Miuser haciendo lo propio en contra de Aspas, Masino.
Now, Furia's default was a bit sloppy, but man is it strong. Let me break it down. To start, Omen uses his Shrouded Step to cross the sightline, automatically forcing the defense to respect being peeked from either angle. From this spot, his job is to paranoia off of this boombot's contact. But because the Lev haven't been contesting the space, I don't think Mazzino was ready. But once Furia realized that there were potential threats, they used Sky's dog as a trigger for this big near sight, and both teams traded one apiece and dropped back to get patched up. Now wait a second, because of all this fighting, Furia have realized that their punching bag isn't on C this time. I mean, it'd be moronic for the defense to fight in front of her bots, so she has to be A. After Sky grabs the orb, the entirety of Furia rotate through spawn. The offense have the read that Killjoy's site has always been the one in Lev's consistent 3-1-1 spreads. If they find Killjoy, that usually means an easy execute, but that's where they're wrong. As Furia inch closer to site, Nowzer dogs up Mound as the map has been just too quiet, and the defense starts to realize what's going on. But not only have Lev moved Killjoy over to A, but also King's Poison Orb. It blooms, locking Furia out of A, so they pivot through Secret and start charging into B. MW0 thought he had a timing through all the chaos, but he gets put down. The defense pumps the brake on their A rotates, head back to B after realizing that the offense have pivoted, and Furia plants. But Conan dies trying to make a play in heaven. 2 versus 4. Can Furia come back?
Los cegares que son bastante bien puestos. King castigando a Conan, pero Khalil y Havoc se hacen fuertes. 2 para 2 ahora en este instante. Viene King, viene el Rey, viene buscando la retoma. A ver si puede encontrar a Khalil. Piquea King, por favor. Estaba esperando la contención, pero Havoc le dice que no. Viene King, viene el Rey, tiene la información. La contención que va a explotar en cualquier momento, pero llegaba Havoc para poder quitarla. Rey King. Viene el Rey, quiere buscarlo. ¡No!
This constant C pressure has been ruining Lev all game, creating gaps in the defense that Furia have been abusing. No matter what they try, the defense just keep losing on C. Alright, well, Killjoy's endless amounts of setups didn't work, and triple fighting Mound was no use. Maybe an op will do the trick. Lev are all out of options on how they can defend C. So as their last-ditch effort, they've handed Aspas an op, and are hoping for the best. I mean, he is the only one fragging out, so what do they have to lose? But Killjoy is tired of being bullied, and is finally sticking up for herself by fighting Rebel alongside her Omen. And with Viper and Sky ready to contest B, no matter where Furia are going, they're running into resistance. Also, this is the first time Lev have purchased an op. And with how easy it's been to take Mound, the offense might get carefree, so this has the potential to snowball. Okay, not really. With just one flash, the op is forced back to site. But this is Aspas we're talking about. Some stupid bird isn't going to keep him pinned. He repositions to elbow, waiting for the offense to get too comfortable. And because this flash hit, Conan thought that A was weaker. Remember, the defense has been setting up in constant 1-1-3 setups, so he gets caught off guard by this double push down main. The offense don't have this space anymore, and have no choice but to go C. MW0 grabs an orb, Fury get closer, and Havoc's dog comes out to play. What does Aspas do now?
Es el 5 para 4. ¡Aspas! ¡Disparo en la cabeza! ¿Dónde ibas, Musera, carajo? Lo hacía de manera perfecta el brasileño para poder sentenciar, poner la ronda.
Lev have figured out once again how to beat this smoke. Just put one of the best oppers in the game on C. It's just that simple. This 4700 credit cannon has put Furia in shambles. Without their space maker or any smokes for A, the remaining attackers wander around searching for a home. They hang around C for a little bit, go through spawn, eventually go A, but Lev close out the round. After losing an eco, Furia pressured C initially like in every other round, but ended up heading to A to wail on Killjoy one more time. Now this round, we're gonna see all of this conditioning on C pay off. Furia are starting in their patented heavy Mound default, while Lev have put Killjoy back with Big Sister Viper to stop her from this constant bullying. Their default starts the same as we've seen before. Teleport across to keep the defense guessing, and no flash? I mean, they only have one, so they opted to dry swing Mound knowing that Lev can't afford an op this time, so I guess that's okay. Now as Furia move up Mound, think everyone, each time the offense has pressured this site, we've seen this smoke, bots have gotten broken, and Furia's goal was to drag reinforcements and pin them down to this site. So while Leviathan are waiting for this standard default I just mentioned, the attackers have other plans.
Pero parece que no es la opción. Parece que se quieren casar con este side en la entrada. ¡Oh! El doble sachet, mamita querida, que pega el tipo. Empezaban a buscar la conexión los jugadores de Furia que parece que lo pueden encontrar.
MW0 flew into sight and Goomba stomped King, but he was fried by nanoswarms in the process. Because they've conditioned this unorthodox smoke, the defense were never expecting an explosive hit like this. All of this commotion has dragged over rotates, and while Furia set up in their post plan, Lev are already coming up with a plan. Hey, all of us are here. If the attackers plant for spam, I'll blast them through the smoke. But if they plant behind that pillar, I need you two to combine your guardians and rip the planter a new one. Got it? Yep, let's do this. Liazzi tries to get the spike down, but gets torn apart through the wall. What do Furia do now?
Adiosito, le decía Noswer. ¿Qué estás haciendo, mi brother? Lo terminaba sentenciando. Aparece Khalil para poder llevarse la vida del vacío. Es un 3 para 3. No, porque aparece Teets para dejar solito a Khalil.
The half ends 4-8, and the offense can credit a majority of these rounds to this new smoke that has cracked the Lotus meta. And now that I think of it, it kind of reminds me of the split smoke that DRX are abusing. This thing is strong.